Hello. I did a video about a year ago, maybe, talking about this replica. And I basically went over all the parts I used and what was different from it now, and I don't know, the difference between what could be correct or what I did differently. And hasn't really changed much. But I figured before I get into talking about this replica, I would talk about what I changed with this guy. In that video I mentioned I would change out this to a more accurate one. The one I had before was really dark. This one here is the right color. It's aged. My friend Jeff Rich made it. I think I mentioned I was going to be getting that in the video. Added the third screw. There are those picks. I forget who sent them to me. Somebody off one of the forums. What else? I did some of the, it's not so great here because of the wear I already had, but in the other video, if you want to watch it, you can go back and see it. I mentioned some fogging where the red pigment has come out of the paint over the course of him playing it and kind of faded it to a pink. There's more on the back I'll show you here in a second. So, if you look at the back, all of that pinkish fade going on is stuff that I did. In the past year I've painted 2 more red ones and my white one, and the ones I painted for people were based on how it looks today. So it did have the broken reflector and the blue paint that would be kind of wherever. Other than that, there's really not much difference in terms of what you do to relic the body, but I felt okay now with doing the fogging. I ended up doing it by using airbrush paint and doing a dry brush technique instead of an airbrush. I just didn't want to spend the money on an airbrush for one purpose. And then I clear coated it with a matte clear coat and buffed it up to a not so matte finish, but not like glossy. Still need that brass block. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get that stupid thing. Maybe not. Did a little bit of extra wear back here that I have found pictures of the real one and since have changed. It's pretty cool, So let's set this aside and let's talk about the 1978 replica. Okay, so this one, another lock body. The neck, he's now, when I got it, he didn't really want people knowing he made the necks, and now he does, but you have to modify the headstock when you order it from him. Instead of it having this round, it comes to like a squared off point that you have to sand off so that it looks right, but I think he does that so it's not like a copyright infringement problem. As far as I know, he is the only one who makes a headstock that's correct. Like, you may think it looks like a CBS era, but it's not quite. The ball is a little smaller. It's weird. So if you really want it to be accurate, you're gonna have to find him. Camera's not focusing. There you go. The nut, as you can see, is just a hair shorter. The nut width for the shelf on this guitar is 1 3/4 inches, and I think this is a 1 11/16 inch nut, just like Ed's. It's just a little smaller. I filed out this little gouge, dirtied it up. Cigarette burn, Gibson logo, and you're probably wondering why it's cut off like that. But after looking at photos and I was trying to place that, I had realized that the G and stuff was missing on Ed's, so cut it off. This is a vinyl decal. Ed's was water slide. Eventually I'll probably change it, but probably not, because, you know, looks fine, and I'm kind of lazy in that way. So, what else we got? Got these, if you can see it, made in West Germany Schallers. They're not, I don't think they're minis, but they have the D-shaped back. You know, most Schallers have the just straight up circle. That's like Ed's. Like I said, the brass nut, string tree. I think I got the string tree at all parts. A lot of this stuff I got at all parts, I think. The paint, same as this one, Duplicolor. I didn't use Wimbledon white because this was when it was new, so I felt that it would be pure white, not this aged white. So both universal white and black. I did a clear coat to protect some of the relicing. I'll show you on the back in a minute. Different than this one. This one I just grain filled, and that was it. And it was okay, but some of the color is stuck within the grain. I didn't like it, so it doesn't really apply to this one. But on the ones I painted for my friends, I just did like a brush on sealer, and it prevents that from making the grain kind of stained black. And so I just stuck with that recipe for this. Pickup, custom wound and made by my friend Sean at Pariah Pickups. Really good stuff. Check them out. It's basically a 78 Seymour Duncan kind of thing, but it's not $200, so yeah. And he gave it a light relic for me as well, which I felt was appropriate just because Ed took this pickup out of another guitar, and I'm sure it saw some wear and tear, so, you know, why not? The bridge is a Fender Pure Vintage bridge. I think it was like $120. You can see it has the Fender and the patent pending stamps on the saddles. The patent pending stamps on the saddles is the big reason I wanted this one. And it has the shorter arm, which you will have to straighten because it angles a lot more. So stick it in a vise, squeeze it. You know, tone pot, the little knob pointer arrow. The jack is from All Parts, CTS pot. basic shit. I don't know what size eyelets those are. I don't know. A lot of people like a number 6. This might be a number 8. I'm not sure. But I think the 6 looks just too big. Got that little bit of foil poking out. The pickguard is not something that I guess you could buy. Most people either just use a pickguard they can buy, or they will get a big square of pickguard plastic and make it. This, I made a file on the computer and had my friend Sean, who made me this, he knew a guy who could laser cut it, so it's exact. I made the file right off a picture of Ed's. All these little imperfections are just like Ed's. I don't know if you can really see it. There's a slight gap here, just like Ed's, because the screws are too close, and so it caused a little bit of a warp. There's more wear on this guitar than a lot of people usually do when they replicate this thing. I tried to get it as close as I could, because most people just, with this one, try to make it look nice and new, and so I want to be one of the few that kind of make it look as close as they could. What else? I'm going to be starting a shark replica soon. My friend Donnie is making the body for me, all from scratch, just like how the Ibanez destroyers were constructed, and I think he's done with it. I just need to pay him to have it send it my way, and once the weather's nice I can start painting. So, you know, keep an eye out for a video on that eventually. I don't know, maybe I'll do a video on like progress on the thing. Maybe not. So, you know, got that 1971, the 61071 neck plate. Like I said in the other video, 30 bucks. Hate paying that for something that's really nothing at all, but you know, you need that accuracy. When Locke made me this this neck, I had him try to make the profile match my neck on this guy, and it's pretty great. Like I said, it's 1 3/4 inches wide, so it's wider than a normal Strat neck like my red one, but I really like it. I don't know why. Maybe it's the width, but it just feels better to me. Obviously you can see all the bird's eye, just like Ed's. Ed's had a maple, you know, bird's eye back, and the board was just regular maple. The tape, you know, sometimes you'll see people do that. A lot of the times you see people just paint those lines in, so it's there forever, but again, I was going for accuracy. Another reason I wanted this pure vintage trim is this big block. I don't think that's like a standard thing nowadays. I'm not quite sure. My Mexican Sunburst Strat has a block similar to this, but I think the Fender ones, the non-Mexican ones, have a thinner, kind of shittier block, more like the one on this red guitar. If you follow me on Instagram, or if you find me on Instagram, I also run a page about these builds and the ones I made for my friends that kind of shows some progress, kind of doesn't. Not really that active with it, I should be. But you can see the side-by-side of this wear and Ed's, and it's pretty much every scratch the same. I mean, it's a little different, but generally it's pretty close. Tooting my own horn there. I scoured over a bunch of live shots and pretty much anything I could find to get any angle of this thing, because most of the time you only see the front. So I wanted to cover as much ground as I could, and I made some assumptions on some areas I'll show you in a minute, but most of it is just like it looks in photos. Pick guard hole, or not pick guard, the spring control plate thing. That's what those are from. There's not as much to talk about as there is on the other one, even though my runtime is still being as long. Let's see if I can. Oh, what's this? Oh, the spring for my trim. What do you know? Sorry. So down here, there's a lot of wear. It's the most wear on the guitar by far. And it's kind of hard to see. There's some wood showing, some not. Not many photos of that at all. I mean, you can see some of this in some photos, but in almost all the photos, his chain strap, or this strap I'll talk about here in a minute, covers this part, but you can see these peeking up. And I found a photo that shows a good amount of this, so I mean, there's like 3 photos of that. So, once again, I kind of assumed what it would look like, because there's really not much to go on. You can see that wear in some photos on the back, but I had to kind of figure out how it all attached. Yeah, there's some wood grain on there, but, you know, whatever. Doesn't bug me. So, now, I guess, I'm going to talk about the strap. This strap was mostly used on the Shark. It's kind of why I made it. This part and the leftovers you have to cut off are from a World War II gunner safety belt, type A3, and they normally go, I've seen them go from 40, 50, sometimes 100, but somebody on Instagram said, hey, there's one of those on eBay for 20 bucks, and I jumped on that. Same kind as Ed's. The only difference is the this stripe. Ed's doesn't have a stripe, but the lettering and stuff is kind of the same. This really faint patch of text on Ed's is more down towards the clasp. I think it's all luck if you get something like that, but it's the same kind of clip. I doubt I'll be able to do this one-handed, but yeah, not really. Pinch there. You have to pull this heavy-ass spring back to open it, and so obviously it's it's like the best strap lock in the world whenever you use it. However, the other end is just a leather strap extender, brown and black. I think it was like $8, and then you know, this just happens to fit over the eyelet, and so it works. It's not really that secure, but it's like Ed's. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I should be getting a stud strap at some point, maybe. I gotta talk to the guy about ordering one, but that'll be, you know, the chain black leather studs like the one Ed is most famously seen with this guitar. So it'll be pretty cool to have two straps. I need to come up with a strap for this, figure out what to use. But yeah, that is about it. You know, it's cool. My playing is garbage, so you're likely not going to get a sound demo. But, you know, look up Pariah Pickups on Instagram or on Facebook, and I believe he has some sound, either videos or clips up there, other people playing them, and it's some good stuff. And like I said, it's not an ass load of money like you'd pay for some Seymour Duncan or whatever brand you may like, DiMarzio. And he can, you know, he's custom, so if you want something, talk to him. If you want it in weird colors, cool. You know, he's a pretty cool guy, so. And not being paid to promote these people, but I figure, hey, someone might see this and they want to know what I use to make these. The nut, just got it off eBay, didn't mention that. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, find me on Instagram or whatever if you want to see more photos of these things. There's a group on Facebook that is a bunch of people like me who like to make these. And so if you do want to make one and you kind of want to get serious about it, it's a, quite forget the name of the group, Frankenstrat Replica group, something like that. I think there's like 2,000 to 3,000 people, maybe there's more, I don't quite remember. But there's a ton of really helpful, knowledgeable people, and, you know, you have any questions, ask. So it's a really great community. People used to use forums years ago, but the site is kind of shit now. I don't even think it's up and running. But yeah, so 8378. Okay, well, enjoy. Have any more questions, leave them below, because I'll likely answer them.